Alright, what's up everyone? So I'm here today to do a special video, specially requested from quite a few friends of mine and probably a lot of friends that haven't requested it but would have pretty much liked to have seen this video 10 years ago back in high school or something. This video is going to be on how to tell if an ENFJ likes you. Now, I want to make it clear that I'm not speaking for all ENFJ, and that's actually what makes this video a little bit more special, because it won't just be my perspective. I'm just going to be speaking as an ENFJ, rather than representing like the whole collective. But yes, today I'll be presenting my perspective on how to know if an ENFJ likes you, speaking from an ENFJ me standpoint. And how at least I think about it, and then we can compare them with two ENFJ guys, Alec and Cameron, and then two ENFJ females, Meghan, LeVota, which I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this and you're an ENFJ, then you must know her. She's all over YouTube if you just search ENFJ, and Kat, a friend named Kat from Twitter. I just want you all to be able to hear their different perspectives, compare, because I think that there's a few, maybe like some differences between that, being male and female, and some other factors that may come into play. So, starting with my experience, strategy is everything. Being an NI auxiliary user, so NI being my second function, I have just noticed, like now learning about myself, that I'm not really straightforward about a lot of different things, but I like to play the game long term. I like strategy. I like to, kind of maneuver in ways that are intricate. I realized, like in my ENFJ, ESFJ Venn diagram video, a lot of ESFJs that I know, they're a lot more straightforward with their speech and a lot more straightforward with a lot of other things that they do. But I know that from my experience, I'm not always as straightforward. I'm more subtle with a lot of things that I do. You honestly might have to like see the angle that I'm coming at with, a lot of different things. However, I don't lie, like if you ask me like a straightforward question, I will tell you. But that being said, I liked strategy. That was just my natural use for everything. And then being an FE dominant, I was always keenly aware of social dynamics, and to be super specific for all of my typology nerds out there, I'm an ENFJ 2-wing 3 social sexual subtype, and my tri-type is 251. So if that helps anything, then here you go. I was always very good with social dynamics. I was good at knowing like who likes who and who doesn't like who, and that all of the lines that are between us, interconnected between us, I was always in tune with that. I knew who did not get along and why they didn't get along, and I knew who got along most and why they got along, and stuff like that. I just picked up on it. That being said, the line with me and other people sometimes could be a little bit blurry. Like sometimes I had an idea that people liked me, but I would be in denial. Don't tell Jamila. I would be in denial a lot of times, like, oh no, they're just being nice. And also from understanding social dynamics so well, I was able to understand, how to get people to like me, if I tried hard enough, if they gave me enough of a chance to do so. That being said, one of my strategies. Hello. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife, Jamila Mensah. So one of my strategies that I used often when I would like somebody, or I'd say like when I was like at least mildly interested or considering, is number one, I'm not talking about you yet. It didn't work for you. That's a video for another day. Y'all have to watch the Denzel Ask and Tell video for our story, which will come out later. But for all other cases, and then half of this case that actually turned out or whatever, worked out to the end, I don't tell the person. Like I said, I'm not straightforward with the person on like, oh, I just like you. Do you want to go out? I know that, for example, Kat, which you'll be hearing from soon, she said that she's not into playing games, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And it's not necessarily that I would see myself as someone trying to play games. In fact, I was actually very serious, and that's why I wouldn't tell the person right away. Because my thing is, I want to know how you are first. You can't just say that, oh, I like you, and then see like, oh, well, let's see if this is going to work out. From a young age, I always wanted to go the long term. And so for that, you had to have a long-term strategy. As fast as it may start is as fast as it's going to end. And so for me, I would see the girl and immediately, they're attractive. It's like, okay, cool. But then what you want to do is you want to start hanging around her with her friends. Hang around her with your friends, hanging around her, and not really treating her special at this point, but, just kind of like seeing how she is in different circles and stuff like that. And then really trying to like gather information on the person to understand like, okay, do I really like this person? Is that something that I'd want to put up with? Oh, is that something that, maybe could be negotiated? Oh, that's their view on this? Is that a compromise? Can we compromise on that? You want to get to understand the person very well. So this is all the observation stage. Some other ways that I would usually like observe is by now interacting with the girl. So one thing is, say for example, like Jamila, I would probably treat her in a very kind way. And as an ENFJ, not all ENFJs, but as an ENFJ, we're generally known to be flirtatious or seemingly flirtatious due to like how friendly and kind that we are and everything. And it doesn't mean that we're interested. It's just we like to usually be very kind and, we're kind-mannered, all of that. If I'm kind to a woman and I'm like keen of that, then I will make sure to also be kind to the other people. And it sounds bad because it kind of sounds like mind games, but pretty much what you're aiming, or what I would be aiming to do, is plant that thought in their head. Like, okay, maybe he likes me. Oh wait, no, never mind. He just treated my friend the same way, so he's probably not interested. And it kind of like has you like on that teeter-totter, like I think he likes me, but then probably not. So the reason why I do all of this extra stuff is because, once again, I'm still observing. So in having you like teeter-totter like that, I'm able to better get closer to you, to understand you more without straightforward saying that I like you. Because now if I've said it, if I made it clear, there's those things like, unspoken things, and then there's like spoken things. If you make it spoken, now it's like, dang, I know explicitly that you like me, and you know explicitly that I like you. So now there's something that has to be done here. But if it's not explicit yet, then there's more that we can do with this, so now it's more on the perceiving stage. So once you're still perceiving that person and you're still trying to see them in other contexts and all of that, then it's like, okay, this is the best way to be able to perceive them, because they don't know that you like them or that you're even mildly interested. If you make this clear and straightforward, if you just speak it to the person right away, well, then now that person believes, okay, like, you like them, and it's spoken, it's out in the air, so now there's something that you have to pretty much like do about it. There's some sort of like obligation. This is when people start to say that things have become weird between them. Oh, why did you tell me? Or like, oh, now like everything is going to be read deep into. But you want it to be as natural as possible. So that's why you keep this unspoken as you're continuing to observe them, because you want to observe them in their natural state before you try to hype things up. So then the next level, once you get to that, once you've passed this, is now you start zooming in attention on the female. So me as an ENFJ male, I would start to spend more time alone with the female. So now the female would start to like think like, okay, no, he's clearly treating me like he's treating everybody special. Like, that's how I am. But he's actually, like, hanging out with me one-on-one. He's actually texting me more often. He's actually, like, trying to get to know my inner desires, my deepest whatever, you know, all of that. Like, he's focusing in and lasering in on me rather than just, like, this broad spectrum. I actually see myself differentiated from the other people. I have a pretty strong feeling that this guy likes me. And this is after you've already observed and you're already okay with them, assuming now, strongly assuming that you like them. Once you get on that dynamic and things are still really good, then you can pretty much say, okay, I'm interested. Like, hey, you know, I kind of have a crush on you, blah, 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 whatever it may be, because now you understand where you stand with that person. You understand, like, okay, no, this is actually something that I want to pursue. I've scoped this out long enough. I've gotten to know you on a deeper level. This is something that I think that would actually last. And now I want to see if you like me. And by this point, as I'm doing all the stuff that I just previously said, I'm pretty good, once again, at, like, if I want to and I'm not in denial, I'm pretty good at knowing, does this person like me back? And so while I'm doing all of that observational stuff, then I'm also observing, does this person like me back? Does this person like me back? If I'm seeing that they're not really liking me back, well, then that goes into, like, you know, a whole bunch of, like, other stuff. Like, okay, well, why don't they like me? Can it be something that I can, like, change? Or is this something that'll probably, like, not work out because it's something that I won't be able to change? And it's just best off that we stay friends. That's essentially the gist of how I at least go about things. And that's why I said, like, you know, it's, like, more strategic. So to put it all in plain terms, you want to observe the person in many different contexts so that you can get to understand, most of all, if you really like the person. You want to know if you are actually interested, because once you let the person know that you're interested, now they're going to start going back and thinking, like, oh, well, should I give this a try? Should I not? And you don't want to just, I mean, some people are okay with being short-sighted and be like, hey, let's just see if this works. But I like to see how sturdy a foundation is first before we jump into it. If you let that person know right away, like, okay, yeah, I'm, like, interested or whatever, then you guys just jump into it, that's when you get, like, a lot of relationships that may fail. And then, you know, you guys won't, like, last for, like, a long time, you know. But then if you've, like, taken time to get to know each other, that's why a lot of people say, like, stay friends for a long time and have that unspoken thing between you two to the point where finally it's like, wow, you know, now you do a lot with that spoken stuff. Now when it's spoken and it's explicit, then you can do a lot with it. Number two, you start to single that person out. So then you're continuing to observe, but you're singling them out and you're making it a little bit more clear that you're being more intentional with that person. And then number three, you seal the deal. Like, hey, I like you. By now, you should probably have a good idea if they like you back. If you're an ENFJ, usually you know when a person likes you back. If you're actually looking for it and you're not in denial, like how I am when I don't want somebody to like me. Did you have anything to add that I may have been, like, missing? How do you know if an ENFJ likes you?
You don't.
Yeah.
Unless you are as discerning and as wise and slightly conceited as I am. I knew that Denzel liked me before he knew that he liked me.
Because you assume that everybody likes you.
No. I said, nope, this one here. He didn't realize. Basically, he took me out on a date, and it was a date because he liked me.
Level 2.
Well,
Differentiator.
No, it was oh, yeah.
Yep.
No, that was before we even hung out with people.
I know, because you didn't have friends. So it was kind of hard to not treat her special. That's why I said this is going to be a whole other video where she was a wild card because she didn't have a friend group to where I could do this with. But I would agree that you won't know if an ENFJ likes you most of the time. Or at least an ENFJ male. I think it's going to be different when you guys hear from Meghan and Kat, especially the way that they think, and they're a lot more like assertive. Which as females, it's like, okay, cool, because whatever. But as males, the two that I'm gonna present, I think that they'll present it in a different way.
Bethany had no idea that Cameron liked her.
For months, right?
Cameron had no idea that Bethany liked him. But they all coming to us talking about, oh, I'm so miserable because I like this person so much. But I know that they don't like me. I'm a horrible person. What is there to like about me? Oh, I just feel so ridiculous. I like this person so much, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, thinking to myself, are you kidding me? They spend a lot of time together, too. But I guess maybe Cam will speak for himself.
That's right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's hear from Cameron. Alright, so what's up, y'all? I'm now back with Cameron Baldwin. Y'all should already know him from the video where I was explaining how I proposed to Jamila. Cameron is with Bethany, who will also be hopping in this a little bit later. How can somebody pretty much distinguish between when you like them and when you're just being friendly?
Well, it has been spoken of me that I am a natural flirt. That is not true. I cannot agree to that. All lies. But after having thought about it, I think that makes sense. I was just never an overtly flirtatious person, and that I never flirted with intent. Like, before I was looking for a girlfriend, before I found somebody that I was truly interested in, I would never walk up to a girl thinking, I'm gonna flirt with her. Like, I'm gonna try to get her. Like, that would never, ever, ever be my intent. As a matter of fact, if there was a girl that I liked, I was gonna walk the opposite direction. Like,
I've witnessed this.
Yeah. Like, it's just that's just not me. I think once I finally decided that, yo, Bethany, like, that's the girl that I'm gonna try to chase after. I think it just came down to intentionality. Like, and I'm already a pretty intentional person with the people that I'm interacting with and conversing with. But I think, like, just going above and beyond. I would take her home every time she needed a ride, even if she didn't need a ride. If she didn't ask for a ride, I would volunteer to give her a ride. Once we got to the house, like, I would try to have a conversation with her while we were parked outside our car. Now, she always would jump out the car, like, as soon as we pulled up to the house. Disrespect. But regardless, like, I would try to have longer conversations with her. I would go out of my way to do things for her, yada, 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 that kind of stuff. It's just the over-the-top stuff, I think, for me. But I think I'm a weird case because I was just always weird about that kind of stuff. Like, I never wanted to press that.
Got you. That makes sense. How would you define flirt? Like, you said, like, people say that I'm a flirt, blah, blah, blah. Not true. But then when I think about it, I kind of am. But I never really flirted with intention. So, like, how would you define flirt? Like, what is flirting to you? And why would people perceive you in that way, I guess, would be the part B of that.
Well, let me tell you what I thought flirting was when somebody first accused me of being a flirt. It was your now wife, by the way.
She does that.
I thought flirting was making some sort of pseudo-sexual advance on somebody in order to progress in a relationship. Gotcha. So, like, go from being friends to romantic interest, something like that. Basically showing somebody else via some type of repartee or touching or glance, anything like that, that just shows that you're romantically interested. That's what I thought flirting was. After being told that I think it's just, once you get comfortable enough around a person or comfortable enough with yourself that you're able to kind of like just interact with somebody of the opposite sex, or I guess for all intents and purposes, the sex that you're interested in, you try to engage with them in a playful way. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously different from that of something fraternal, like a brother and a sister, but it's something more, it's suggestive. It's a conversation that's suggestive, or a touch that suggests pushing something forward, but doesn't necessarily always mean that that's what you're aiming for.
That makes total sense. Well, like I said, Bethany is his now girlfriend, and we will invite you to the table
What's up, girl?
Jamila.
Oh, thought you was going.
What's up, daughter? Did you have any idea that Cameron liked you?
Okay. I think so. I think mostly though I was like, nah. When I saw certain things that I would, and if it was somebody else, I would have been like, oh yeah, let me just steer clear. But I think because I also had feelings involved, I was like, no, he's just nice, or like he does this with everybody type of thing, which isn't necessarily wrong. It's just like what he was saying, where it was like a lot, and I was like.
So the way that you're able to tell apart was that you could tell that he actually differentiated you from the rest of the other women or other people that were involved?
I think, yeah,
Like
I
he,
think
like,
by
singled
looking
you
back
out?
now, yeah, probably.
So
If I were to be like completely, like, how about this? If I didn't like him, then I would have been like, oh yeah, well, he's like way too friendly with me, or like he's like doing a lot towards me that he didn't do with other people. Like he always gives people rides, and he was doing that from jump. Like he's really nice to females. He's usually really comfortable with females. He got biddies, but he won't tell you that. So like
She's gonna forever claim that, but just get used to it.
there's like a lot of girls around him and stuff, and he was always really comfortable with them and stuff. So it was really easy to overlook anything that he did towards me as like, oh yeah, he's just like this. So that's what I
Gotcha.
did.
Okay. You see the girl, she's attractive. Where does it go from there? Like, okay, she's just attractive, like, no, there's other attractive girls, to like, oh wow, I actually want her to be mine. Like, and then how did your behavior change from there?
Like what specifically about her, or what was the transition? like?
Yeah, what is the transition kind of like? Like, it could be pertaining to her or just like in general, like when you first notice her, and then like what's like the stages where it's like, okay, first I'm gonna just scope her out maybe like in this way, and then I'll observe her in this way, oh I noticed this or whatever, and then now I start behaving this way to like indicate that I like her. You know what I mean?
I really don't know. I mean, I can tell you how it happened, but I really don't know why. Like, what exactly set it off? I had hung out with attractive girls before. I'd hung out with cool girls before. But, like, there was never that impetus to go forward. Like, for some reason, hanging with Beth, and, like, we had similar interests. Are you making fun of because I use the word impetus?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm in college, so I use big words.
No,
So
it's fine.
We
Keep
love to
using your big
utilize
words.
gargantuan idioms to fabricate intelligence at will.
Wow.
what he said. I just never really had the reason. I just never really had a reason to do it. There was just something that was always holding it back. And I think that was a personal, like, spiritual thing. I don't want to get too religious necessarily, but it was just there was always something that was holding me back from, pursuing. But as me and Bethany became close friends, first and foremost, and I always tell a story like this. We were jamming out with a song that she had written, and she was asking me for some help with it. And so I was playing the keys, and she was sitting over there. So I was playing, I looked over, cool, go back to the song. Playing, look back over, cool. Look back the third time. I was like, God dang. And then, like, from that moment on, I knew that she was going to be my pudding-tane.
Oh.
So,
Oh my God. What does it even mean? Anyways.
pudding-tane, like my big booty Judy. My burger and fries with a shake.
Okay.
Extra large shake. So,
Okay. What?
So that was pretty much it. Nah, I literally just thought, stop scooting away. I literally just thought that, like, I could really see myself with this person. So I'll just go for it.
Got you.
But I can't tell you why it happened. I think I just got the green light. Like, I really think that's what it was.
So there was like not really any type of like strategy involved. And there's usually like no type of
No.
strategy involved when you're trying to pursue a female.
There was no strategy whatsoever.
Just
But-
like me and Jamila. This is funny.
That's just.
They're actually going to feature in a future Jamsel Ask and Tell video, which I'm pretty sure they probably knew even though they didn't really know. But
We know
y'all
now. We know now.
Oh my
But
gosh.
thanks a lot for your input, and I think that a lot of people will find that helpful, that pretty much, especially as a male, I think there's gonna be like some type of difference, like from when we actually like a girl, and we are, like Cameron said, we're just naturally like flirtatious, but even then it's not usually like the flirtatious type of way where it's like very sexually suggestive or anything, so it won't be like in your face. Like you didn't find him to be like in your face with anything. It wasn't anything that you said that, oh yeah, he's just really nice, but it wasn't anything like, okay, yeah, he definitely likes me because he said this pudding thing or anything.
Yeah. He's actually really respectful before we started dating.
Keep note of that too. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. But thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thanks. Thank you. What's up, everyone? So I'm here with Alec Marierose, right? And he's an ENFJ male. And I already gave my piece yesterday, but pretty much what I'm doing right now is I'm making a video on how to know if an ENFJ likes you. Right. And so yesterday, well, a few days ago, I've had like a lot of friends like asking me those questions, like, and a lot of people like they've even asked me like, well, how could I tell the difference if, like, you know, we're known to be like pretty flirtatious or friendly, and then people get the wrong idea. But then it's like, well, how do I also know if they're not just being flirtatious or friendly? And it's like, and then I've had instances where I actually liked the person, but they couldn't tell. And so it's like, well, I just thought you were being nice. It's like, well, no, not really. I gave my piece yesterday, and I'll probably let you like watch that in a bit, but I didn't want to bias yours. How would you say somebody could know if you like them?
So for me, I'd have to say, if I talk to you a lot, like if we're like in a group setting and let's say there's like, you know, 3 guys, 3 girls, and I'm talking to my guys a lot, and then there's this one girl that like I'm sitting next to, and I'm always like, if I'm making fun of her, like I'm talking to her like most of the time, or like I'm messing with her, like that's probably the girl I like. Like if I don't like a girl but I just want to be friends, like I'll joke but I'll keep it at a distance. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. So how does it look like with distance and then singling out the girl? Like,
I don't talk to them as much. Like if they say something, normally I'll talk to them based off like what they say like in the group or something like that. So if they like say a topic, I'll be like, oh yeah, like I know this, like, you know, I'll tell you about this and this and this. But if it's like versus a girl I like, I'm gonna be asking her a lot of questions, trying to figure out who she is. Like that's just how I do it. And one of the major keys is that I do it in is if I do it the first day. First day of me meeting you. If I'm interested, like if I think like you're attractive, like I'm gonna like, you know, probably talk to you a little bit more, because like with people that like I'm cool with that I don't know, that I want to like, you know, understand, like I won't really talk to them. Like not in a disrespectful way, but it's like I need to, you know, fill you out. So
I feel you. So then what would you say like your process with that usually is? Like, so when you're trying to actually like pursue a woman, especially like, you know, as a male and everything, then how do you go from how does it elevate to I've noticed you, that you're attractive, to now like you're mine?
Well, I know for me, I kind of play like mind games. So I'll be a friend to you, and when I can tell, I'll make my move like not through text, but I'll base, you know, if I should make that move like through text and like through snaps, or like, you know, when you meet somebody and you get to know them and you finally like get their number or something like that, and you text them on a more personal level, because, you know, you're not in a group setting anymore, you'll get to know them and stuff. And then like if a girl likes you, she'll throw like a little hint or something like that. Like there'll be certain things that she says to you that she won't say to any other guy. And so if I like pick up on that, I'm like, okay, this is the first hint. Well, maybe she is interested, but let me wait this out. And if she says some more stuff and she keeps on saying it, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I think she likes me. It's time for me to go say it. So like I'll wait, like I'll get to know them, but to them it'll look like I'm just trying to be friends. Like I'm just trying to be friends until they say something. Like if I compliment them, I'm like, oh, you look nice or something like that, and they're like, oh, you look good too. I was like, well, thank you so much, that means a lot. I was like, I really like your smile, and like we'll talk about like, you know, our best features that we think that we have, and if they compliment me like way more than like the question asked for, then I'll be like, okay, I think you're interested.
There's something going on.
Yeah, there's something. There's some type of feeling. All right, so let me just I can get closer now. Let me get to know you a little bit more, and then I'll make my decision based off that.
Bad. So would you say that you're not really straightforward?
No,
You're not straightforward, and
because
why
I
is that?
hate like the awkwardness and rejection. Because I feel like any girl that I talk to, I'm gonna get rejected.
Got you.
Yeah.
So then, what do you think about women who think that you're playing games when you're not being straightforward? Which you did say, like, okay, yeah, you know, like I play mind games or whatever. Would you say there's a difference there, or it's like, oh no, you're right,
Yeah.
like I actually am playing games?
There's a difference because when you play games with somebody, it's like you're straight on telling them like, oh yeah, I think you're cute, like, oh you're so pretty, but then like your actions when y'all are in public, you're doing like you're flirting with like a whole nother girl. You know what I'm saying? My mind games as far as like I'm putting the thought in your head, and I'm letting you figure out stuff, and I'm gonna let you like, you know, throw a little hint out, like, so they don't necessarily make the first move, but they kind of just, you know, take like the little half step, and if I see that half step, I'm like, okay, well maybe it's time for me to approach you, so like now it won't be awkward if I like do like you and I say something and you won't be like, well no, I don't like you like that. So like I have to like know that like you're some type of interested in me.
Dude, perfect. Thanks so much. He has a YouTube channel and an Instagram, and you'll find a lot of similarities between our pages. It's really interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is callme.alec, so CALLME.ALEC, all one word. And my YouTube channel is it's callme_Alec HD. So definitely go check it out. And if you follow my Instagram, just DM me and let me know who you are and talk to me, because I talk to everybody. I love to spread love and, you know, just help people out.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Awesome. Thanks, Alec. Another question.
It's so easy to tell when an ENFJ likes you, but the problem is that almost makes it hard because we are friendly to everyone typically, and we like everyone. The thing that's probably harder to know is like how to tell if an ENFJ is in love with you. If an ENFJ likes you, it'll be written all over their face. They won't be able to hide it. If an ENFJ likes you, you might be thinking, well, they might like me, but they might be acting that way to everyone. They might just be being nice. So the key to understand the difference between an ENFJ just being friendly and an ENFJ liking you and wanting something more from you, I think the question to ask is, did they have to do that? And if they went out of their way and they did something that they did not have to do, then that's a good chance that they either like you or are intentionally trying to start a friendship with you, which that's a whole other line. Okay, let's start on this end of the spectrum, from like all the way to love. Let's start with like. It's very, 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 very easy to know if an ENFJ likes you because they will like want to hang out with you. They'll want to be around you. They'll be smiling. They'll be talking to you. They'll be asking questions about you. An ENFJ is friendly to everyone that they meet on their first occasion and has a base level of friendliness to all people, but they will decide quickly if they actually like you or not. And I'm talking like in the most basic sense, like as a friend or as a, I don't know, if they just like your vibe, they will decide that quickly. And they will decide quickly, do I want to pursue any sort of friendship? Do I want to get to know this person? An ENFJ hates small talk, okay? But they want to be friendly. And so what will happen is they'll ask questions about the other person, and then the questions will either just stop coming because they'll be like, I'm not curious about you, you're boring, you haven't even engaged anything I said. Or that person will make the ENFJ curious, and they'll keep asking more and more questions and more and more questions. And so the ENFJ will understand pretty quickly if they like you or if they don't like you. If you are interested in an ENFJ and you're like, how do I know if they like me? And you guys don't talk very frequently, they probably don't really like you. Either that or they want to get to know you, but they don't know how. But that's different than liking. like, maybe they think you're a cool person and might be interested in getting to know you. But it's very unlikely, I would say, for an ENFJ to be their head in the clouds away, like, dreaming about you. Like, that's not going to happen. I've been guilty, especially, like, in middle school and high school, of just liking whoever was the most convenient, whoever I got along with the most, who just was there at the time. I would grow to like them because I just see the good in people right off the bat. And whoever I feel like I like talking to, and I always find myself drawn towards and continuously be curious about, those were the sorts of people that then I would develop an attraction with over time. But it would take longer. I am not like a love at first sight sort of person, but I am, like, I could tell, like, if I respect someone at first sight. That sort of feeling of love or feeling of romanticism is just not going to happen right off the bat. Because since we use introverted thinking, we're sort of vetting a potential partner based on how we worked well together. Do we have similar interests? Do we have an easy flow of conversation with our extroverted feeling? We aren't just feeling this romantic pull in the way that an introverted feeler would. It's more... ENFJs are still emotional and naive, but it's a more logical process of, like, yes, we just click. Or, like, oh, like, we might want to live in the same town the rest of our lives, or we have similar lifestyle. Like, those sort of things could make an ENFJ more attracted whenever they see those. And so once you have that base level of, like, the ENFJ is talking to you, they're curious about you, they'll start to just weave their way into your life if they've decided that they want you to be a part of your life. If you like an ENFJ, they might not have considered you romantically, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't, depending on where they are in their life. If they're getting over a breakup or if they're trying to establish their career, it's very likely that they might just be talking to you and getting to know you and not even be thinking about the relationship aspect in their mind. And they could be interested. But they're not interested unless they are trying to spend time with you, texting you, asking about you, asking a bunch of questions about you. Once they've decided, like, yes, this is a person that could be my boyfriend or girlfriend, then it's very intentional. Like, it will not be confusing what they want. The only time that an ENFJ will be confusing about what they want is if the ENFJ themselves is confused about what they want. And to that, if it seems like an ENFJ is giving you mixed signals, it probably means that their intent is not to date you, but maybe they have feelings about you or toward you, or maybe they just literally don't know what they want, and I would suggest just asking them, because I would say that's quite rare. Or maybe they feel like it would ruin a friendship if they went after it, and so they're just trying to keep their mouth shut because they want you to say something first. As an ENFJ, I tend to like introverts more often than not, and it's like, I don't understand why they can't get it through their thick skull how much I like them a lot of the time, because I'll always be texting them asking, do you want to hang out? How was your day? Like, a lot. But sometimes I'm like, they should know I like them by now, so I'm not going to insult their intelligence by telling them I like them whenever, I would want something in return. I will say that the ENFJ approach is to be very expressive, very aware of their emotions, and very not afraid to make the first move, and you'll see it on their face if they like you. And if they don't like you, and if you keep flirting with them and they don't like you, they're going to look uncomfortable, and they might even just walk away awkwardly, or pretend to go to the bathroom. They won't be in that situation. We don't put ourselves in situations that we don't want to be in.
How to tell if an ENFJ likes you. I can't speak for every ENFJ out there, but I can speak from my experience and I can speak just my opinion. ENFJs are naturally very friendly people. We are going to be friendly and nice to anyone. This could cause some confusion. ENFJs are very confident in social situations. We don't have problem to say what's on our mind and being polite at the same time. But when it comes to being in love with someone, and if we have interest in some person, we can experience lots of emotions that we didn't know that we even have in ourselves, and also we could act a little bit weird and very shy. We could worry excessively how we look. Are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the thing that that person likes or doesn't like? And things like that. It's like we suddenly become an OCD person who overthinks things, and it can be very exhausting. The more I like someone, the less comfortable I get around that person, and I talk less, I stumble my words, I get really shy, and I feel like I'm losing myself. If we like someone, we are going to be very focused, and we are going to be givers. We are going to give you everything we have. That's who we are, that's what we do. For most people, I'm very distant and mysterious. It's hard to get know the real me, but if I let someone know something deeper about me, it means I really like that person. When I can have deep conversations and when I can trust someone, that is very attractive for me. I'm attracted to personalities, not looks and body and things like that, because I believe that looks and bodies can change every day, every hour, but your personality stays forever. I can only like someone who is going to love me back. I don't know if I said this correctly, pardon me for my bad English. If I see that someone doesn't like me, I'm not going to bother that person. I'm done. I can be sad for a while, but I'm strong. I can handle that. I can forget, I can forgive, and I'm not going to fight for people that don't like me. I don't see the point in that. I only like to fight for things that are worth it, and I only like to fight for people who care.
So how do I, as an ENFJ, show somebody I like them, or how would somebody know that I like them? I think that the most common thing for me in all of my relationships is that I really need to take things really, really slowly. So I really have to build a friendship with somebody before I can consider liking them at all. And once I do kind of start to like somebody, one of the first key things that I'll show is that I like to spend more and more time with somebody, and I start to ask them a lot more questions, because I don't ever like to get into a relationship or date just to date. I definitely want to know that there's going to be a future there if I'm going to date someone or be interested in them at all. It's really important for me to understand how their mind works and kind of, I guess, probe them on their core values, their boundaries, what kind of life do they want for the future, what kind of things do they expect from other people, what kind of things do they like, just, I guess, small talky kind of things like that. Once I kind of scale out whether or not this is somebody that I could be interested in, which is a bit of a process for me, I think I'll kind of start to drop hints at first. For example, I do a lot of corny things, like I might draw people pictures to show them I'm thinking of them, and I include them in a lot of inside jokes. And something that I definitely do that I've noticed most, if not all, ENFJs also do is when I like someone, whether it be romantic or platonic, I'm definitely very, very playful with them, and I definitely like to tease people and kind of make jokes about them. And I like it when somebody does this back to me as well. But I think definitely a big hint that I do like you, be that as a friend or romantically, is that I'll definitely make fun of you a little bit and kind of have fun with you in that way. Because that's kind of my way of showing, oh, you know, we're close, or we're cool, or we're on that level. I'm definitely really assertive in my relationships. When I like someone, I always end up telling them or just directly asking them how they feel about me. And I think I can be a little bit hesitant to do this right away, but I always definitely end up doing it. I'm definitely not scared to make the first move or express that I do like somebody and I am interested in them. I think at first, sometimes I'll have kind of an intuitive idea that somebody likes me, but I really don't like to assume how other people feel at all without hearing it from them. So if I'm not pretty much 100% sure, I definitely don't want to assume, oh, this person likes me. So eventually I get quite assertive with it, and I just kind of end up telling the person, hey, I like you, do you like me too? Or I'll just ask them how they feel about me. Because for me, I just don't want to waste a lot of time once I know what I want. So I think it's definitely better to tell somebody how I feel. I'm not really scared to get rejected. Of course, it doesn't feel great to get rejected, but it's not a big deal to me, just because, you know, if the person knows I like them and they like me back, okay, great, let's do something about this. Let's see where it goes. And if they don't, that's part of life. You know, not everybody that you like is going to like you back. Not everything is meant to be. So, you know, at least you know, and now you have your answer and you can move forward with them or move forward without them.
And there you have it. So, I originally said that I was just going to have 2 other ENFJ males and then 2 other ENFJ females, but as you guys saw, I actually also included an extra female because I did the math and I realized, like, oh wait, that wouldn't really be fair, like 3 ENFJ males, because I now include myself, which is funny because I always talk about, like, you know, include yourself when you're talking about everyone, but yeah, so including myself, now there's 3 ENFJ males, so I also had 3 ENFJ females. And unfortunately, I couldn't, like, actually interview them. So I'm already expecting, like, maybe some comments to be like, oh, that's not fair, you know. But yeah, I'm sorry, you know, I couldn't fly out there to make this video with everybody who was involved. It was just fortunate that I had Cameron and Alec living around me, but Kat and Meghan are in other places, and then so is Sara. Nonetheless, I hope that you guys were able to get enough from this and enjoy it, and hopefully now you'll have better clarity when you are dealing with an ENFJ and wondering if whether or not they may like you. And from what I've seen, it appears as if it mainly comes down to a few things, which are gender, enneagram, potentially age, and how we define like. So I think that's a big thing. But that's going to be a video for another day. Done.